Welcome back, Anu. As we continue the conversations on what it's like to be matchmaker in these days, and the different obstacles people have to overcome or challenges they face in putting themselves out there to find the perfect one for them, I'm curious to know, what is your take on the perfect marriage? Does that exist? Do you subscribe to the philosophy that exists?
Hi, Sonia. I don't think there's anything as a perfect marriage, but more than that, I don't think it's my place to really define what a perfect marriage is for someone, because I think it's different for different people. What I can do is I can share with you how my last 10 years of my marriage have been, and what that means to me. Because I think everybody just goes by their own experience. So, I've been married a little over 10 years now, and hindsight is a phenomenal thing, but really when I look at the journey so far, and I look at what is it that binds me to Anand as we go forward, I think there are three things which are really defining for me. One is, I think at the center of this whole thing is our friendship. And that's always been, for me, that's been very important, and that's always had to be the anchor. The second thing that's really, really very important is his level of maturity, which I greatly respect and I look up to. Whether his level of maturity, his sense of integrity, his sense of values, and that sort of trickles down into so many different things. But that is something I've always looked up to. And I think the third thing that that means a lot to me has been his lending me not only his encouragement but his support. And I think he's really had to come outside his comfort zone in a lot of ways to give me the space that I need, to blossom and to, for my career aspirations, because I'm a lot more driven than him. I'm a lot more ambitious than he is. And I think he has gotten here. It didn't happen overnight, but that's something I value a lot, because otherwise, without that kind of support from the other person, I think one of two things happen. Either you change your aspirations, and you don't want that for yourself anymore, which is doing yourself a great disservice, or it takes a toll on a relationship. So thankfully that hasn't happened, and that's something I value immensely. I don't mean to say that a marriage is perfect, and because far from it. We have our share of, I think, healthy, arguments, debates, discussions, disagreements. Fights is probably a stronger word, but at least a lot of disagreements, because we're both very strong people. We're stubborn, strong people, but over the years I've learned that in a marriage it's very important to pick your battles, to pick what is worth fighting for, and what's really not even that important. So that is something that's again something that I learned from Anand. And the other day, Anand and me, we were just having a cup of coffee and walking around and just having a conversation, gone for a little stroll, and we were talking about, our kids are going to go to school in August, and we were talking about, private school versus public school, and we are not on the same page on that just yet. But the important thing is that we heard each other out, and we said, okay, let's think about it, and then let's talk about this a little bit more. So that's one thing. We've learned to do those things over a period of time. And for me, we started off as a couple. Kids come into the mix, the equation changes, and so much in a relationship changes, because all of a sudden, naturally, kids become your priority. At least they did for me, and all my focus changed from Anand to the kids like overnight. And I think in a lot of ways that's quite difficult for a man, because I've learned that men need to feel needed. Otherwise, they go into their caves. And I think that happened with Anand for a while, till I figured out that, look, I need to reset things and, the priorities, and there needs to be a better balance. And that balance is very tough to do. But that was very important in my marriage. And if I was to, if I could go back into time, that, I'm sure there are a lot of things that I would change, I would like to do differently. But the one thing which I would not change for anything is the person I'm with. So if I was to do this all over again, I would want to be married to Anand. And I think for me, that defines the space that my marriage is in, or like you said, perfect marriage. For me, that is the perfect marriage.
So in thinking of other challenges that might come about when you're trying to matchmake your members, geography comes to mind. And in so many ways, the world is becoming such a smaller place. It's accessible to so much more than it has been. You can connect with people so easily through different apps and Facebook, and different ways you're able to connect to people. But yet it seems tough, or maybe even tougher still, to find that person, to connect with that person. And why do you think that is?
You're absolutely right. I think it is. The world has become a much, much smaller place. But that's because people are going out a lot more. They're moving. They're more globally mobile. And that has, it's like anything else in life, it's pros and cons. When people are more globally mobile, it really means that they move away from where they're anchored, from where their roots are, and they move away from their home and the social structure that they've grown up in and around. And when people start afresh in another place, it takes a long time to get that sort of social structure going, and that's why it's much tougher to meet people. There's no two ways about that. And beyond a certain point, parents struggle because they don't have a social structure in the place where their kids are settled. So that's another thing that comes into the mix. I think the third thing that plays a significant role is that people are delaying marriage. They're not getting married to people they meet in business school or wherever. So it's career first. They want to establish that and then think of marriage. And then as we get older, there's a lot more that we take on. We get a lot more layered. In some ways we get more cynical. In some ways we have more barriers up. That ability to just strike a conversation with somebody and just to put your defenses down, that is not there, anymore, or significantly reduced. So that makes it very difficult. And also time. My God, time is the biggest luxury we have. So, it's emotionally, you're sort of stretched your bandwidth, right? And how do you meet people? Where do you meet them? How do you invest emotionally? Because, it's more a numbers thing for a lot of people, because you're just trying out what might work and what might not. So I think it's your question is very valid. It happens all the time.
This past year has been so difficult for so many people across the board, across the globe. And there have been personal hits and professional hits during COVID. And how has it affected you, your business, matchmaking industry, the marriage industry as a whole? What effect have you seen? I
think, it's become... It has its impact, quite a significant impact, like everything else. So I think 2020 it started off with people going into shock, sort of not disbelief, and then shock, saying, never have international, at least never that in my lifetime have international borders been closed, economies come to a standstill. And people just didn't know what's coming next, what's happening. So everything was put on the back burner. People didn't know how to meet someone. How do you can't really get out. How do you even have a conversation with somebody? But I think the flip side of that was something very beautiful happened. That the more time that people spent, with their families, they realized that ultimately it's the family, it's the people who really, who really made it worthwhile and made it easy to cross this last 1 year. That was really, it was really families that were the center of it. And that has made people have had the time to refocus and reprioritize their life. And, once they've realized that it's, the right person, the life partner is important, they've said, hey, I'm not going to keep it in the back burner anymore. I'm going to make this a priority, right? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to connect with people. I'm going to give this some time, because people have had time to invest, to talk to somebody, and not sort of have one short conversation and say, I've got to go run for a meeting or something. So, and then the next conversation never happened. So I think people have realized that, let's talk a second time, and they realized, hey, this is going well. It's, much better than I thought. And third time, and they've realized that the more they've let things flow, things have fallen into place. Things have started falling into place. So it's brought their their search for a life partner from here, I need to do this, I know I need to do this, I need to get to it at some point, from there to the center stage. And I think that is a very important decision. And I think that's the right one as well, because ultimately, as we saw from last year, 2020, that nothing is more important than family.
I do love hearing your take, your positive spin. Sometimes when you're faced with a challenge, can you only see the silver lining? And, COVID has forced all of us to slow down. We've had to slow down and reevaluate ourselves and the things that are important to us, what we're looking for. And so looking at it through that lens of, people slowing down and reevaluating, understanding that, family is important and wanting to pursue that is so nice to hear. So Anu, thank you again for spending time with us.
Thanks, Sonia. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Everyone, thank you for watching. Until next time.